8. What was the transformation you experienced? After creating ClickFunnels, I was not only able to let my wife become a full-time mom, I've also been able to spend a lot less time working because we can create things so quickly. I'm now able to be with my kids and never miss any of the highlights of their lives. Now that you've read my Potato Gun Epiphany origin story, I want you to reread my big domino statement and see if that story gives you the aha you need to be able to believe this statement. If I can make people believe that funnels are the key to online business success and are only attainable through ClickFunnels, then all other objections and concerns become irrelevant and they have to give me money. If I did this right, then you should believe that you need a funnel to be successful online, and that the only way to build one is by using ClickFunnels. If you believe that, then your resistance to buying becomes almost zero. Now that you understand story structure and you've created your first Epiphany Bridge story, in the next section we are going to dig deeper into the false beliefs people have about your new opportunity, and then look at the stories we need to create to break those false belief patterns. Secret number 9. False belief patterns. We all create belief systems that support our decisions. We've been doing it pretty much from the day we were born. Those belief systems form the foundations for our lives. We create these beliefs to keep us safe and to safeguard our status. And while they've been developed to protect us, oftentimes they're also the things that keep us from progressing in our lives. When I'm trying to sell someone on my new opportunity, almost instantly their subconscious mind will start thinking about all the reasons it isn't possible, or why it won't work for them. The bad news is that these beliefs can be really strong. Let me show you how these beliefs are created. It all starts with an experience. It could be positive or negative, but immediately after they have that experience, their mind quickly creates a story about what that experience meant. Our brain then takes that story we created and it becomes a belief. It's pretty simple, yet that process has happened tens of thousands of times in your life and has created the person you are today. It's interesting that two people can have the exact same experience, but because of the story they created, it affected their beliefs about it. So you have to understand that when you speak to people about your new opportunity, they will bring thousands of preconceived beliefs with them that you have to combat if you are going to make the sale. The good news is that when you know what those false belief patterns are, and you understand the experiences and the stories that your prospects have created in their minds, you can actually use Epiphany Bridge stories to replace their old stories, break their false beliefs, and create new ones. Here is a fun exercise to demonstrate how this works. Step number 1. What false chains of belief might your potential customer have about your new opportunity? For example, if you're in network marketing or multi-level marketing, MLM, a false chain of belief might be something like, if I joined a network marketing/MLM program, I could lose my friends. Or if your opportunity is about weight loss, if I try to lose weight, I'm going to be miserable. If you're not able to think of false beliefs that your potential prospects might have, think about the false beliefs that you had before your big epiphany. Step number 2. Now that you have the false belief, the next step is to figure out what experience they had in their lives that caused the false beliefs. What is the most likely experience your prospect had that caused this belief? One time I joined an MLM, I tried to sign up my parents, and they got mad. I tried to lose weight last year, had to cut out carbs, and I was miserable. Step number 3. What is the false story they are telling themselves now that's creating doubt about your new opportunity? My story is that people have to bug their friends and family to have success in network marketing. My story is that I have to give up things that make me happy if I want to lose weight. Step number 4. Now it's your job to find an Epiphany Bridge story, usually in your own life, but it can also work if you share someone else's story that shows how you once had a similar belief, but because of this new story, you now have a new belief pattern, and that the old story you were telling yourself was wrong. I also thought I had to give up friends if I joined an MLM, but then I learned that you can actually generate leads online. The internet is full of people who want to join my program. So I can grow my team without involving my friends or family. I also thought I'd have to give up things that make me happy to lose weight. But then I learned about ketosis and how I can lose weight by drinking ketones instead of cutting carbs. Isn't that exciting? When I first started to understand this concept, I realized that stories are the keys to belief. If I can identify people's false beliefs and tell stories that show them the truth, I didn't need to sell them anything. The stories lead people to the right belief, and they sell themselves. If you've ever heard me speak, you know I share a lot of stories. In fact, during a recent presentation, one of my friends counted how many stories I told within the first 60 minutes. I had guessed the number might be 10 or so, but the total ended up being over 50, almost one per minute. Some longer stories may take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, while others are often less than a minute. But the key is I use a lot of stories when I am speaking. They break false beliefs and rebuild the new beliefs people need to make a change. And that is why it's essential for you to start building up your inventory of stories. Here's how you do it. Step number 1: list all the false beliefs your customers might have related to your new opportunity. If you struggle trying to figure them out, think about the false beliefs you had before you got started on this path. It's likely your audience holds those same beliefs. I try to list at least 10, but normally my list will have 20 or more. Step number 2: what experiences might have caused those false beliefs? List an experience for each false belief on your list. Step number 3: what stories are they telling themselves now because of those experiences? It's important to know their stories, because your new Epiphany Bridge story will replace those old stories. Step number 4: think about your own Epiphany Bridge story for each of those false beliefs. What happened to change that belief for you? As you build out these steps for your customers, you'll notice that you had mostly the same beliefs, experiences, and stories. So just go back in time and remember what gave you the big aha that shattered those beliefs for you. Make sure you have a story for each of the false beliefs. If you don't have a personal story, it's okay to use stories from your customers or even people in the news. You might not use all these stories, but you should start building up an inventory of stories to use in the future. After you complete all 4 steps, go back and practice telling your stories using the Epiphany Bridge script from secret number 6. The better you get at telling the stories, the more effective you'll become at persuading others, and you'll know exactly what to say when customers bring up objections. Secret number 10: the 3 secrets. In a perfect world, you would present someone with your new opportunity. You'd know what the big domino was, you'd tell an Epiphany Bridge story to give them a new belief, the big domino would fall, and you'd have a customer or follower for life. Sometimes that does happen. One good Epiphany story and they're all in. Many times, though, once you change that big belief for them, they immediately start coming up with other concerns. This is especially true with more expensive opportunities and big life changes. I've found that there are 3 core beliefs that come to the surface and keep someone from buying, even if they believe the new opportunity is right for them. 1. The vehicle. Other false beliefs they may have about the vehicle or new opportunity you're presenting. 2. Internal beliefs. Beliefs about their own abilities to execute on the new opportunity. 3. External beliefs. False beliefs they have about outside forces that could keep them from success, things beyond the individual's control, such as time or the economy. So in a more complicated sale, you need to imagine what their false beliefs are related to each of these 3 things. The good news is that if you completed the exercise in secret number 9, you already have a huge list. You just need to put each of the false beliefs into the correct categories. So all the false beliefs you found that are related to the vehicle, put them into the first column. False beliefs about their own internal beliefs go in the second column, and external beliefs into the third. Now decide which of those false beliefs is the core belief holding them back in each column and put it at the top. Go ahead and do this exercise now. You'll be using this information throughout the rest of this book. Now that you have your list of false beliefs, you will also need an Epiphany Bridge story to go with each of them. You will be using the stories more when we get to section 3. For now, just create the list and identify the number 1 reason in each category that would keep them from taking action on your new opportunity. Let me show you an example. In my ClickFunnels presentation, I initially piqued their curiosity by sharing my opportunity switch headline we created in secret number 4. How to create a 7-figure funnel in less than 30 minutes without having to hire, or be held hostage by, a tech guy. Then my goal is to get them to believe in the big domino statement I created in secret number 5. If I can make people believe that funnels are the key to online business success and are only attainable through ClickFunnels, then all other objections and concerns become irrelevant and they have to give me money. Then I tell them my potato gun epiphany bridge story from secret number 8 so they have the first aha that they need to have a funnel, too. But as soon as I do that, the core false beliefs about the big domino rise to the surface. False belief number 1, the vehicle, funnels sound cool, but I don't understand how they would work for me. False belief number 2, internal beliefs, I'm sold on funnels, but I'm not technically inclined, so I don't think I could build one. False belief number 3, external beliefs, I think I could build a funnel, but even if I did, I don't know how to drive traffic into it. Now that I have the 3 core false beliefs, I have to find the epiphany bridge stories that will break them. False belief number 1, I don't understand how it would work for me. Epiphany bridge stories for false belief number 1, for this, I tell them my Tony Robbins and Porter Stansberry stories showing them about modeling success, as well as my funnel hacking story about how we modeled the Marine D3 funnel to build our Neurasal funnel and how they can do that with any successful funnel in their market. False belief number 2, I'm not technical. Epiphany bridge stories for false belief number 2, I tell the story about how I used to have a big tech team build funnels that cost thousands of dollars, and how we were able to change that after we built ClickFunnels. I then show them a product demo so they see how easy it is even if they are not technical. False belief number 3, I don't know how to drive traffic. Epiphany bridge stories for false belief number 3, I tell them my story about how I reverse engineer from where my competitors get traffic, so I can easily get traffic from the same places. So I am plugging in my epiphany bridge stories that I created in secret number 9 that will break their core chains of false belief. Finally, I rewrite each of those false beliefs and the stories that go with them into a secret that causes curiosity so people will want to listen. Curiosity is the key. Here is how I rewrote my 3 core false beliefs into my 3 secrets. Secret number 1, funnel hacking: how to ethically steal over $1 million worth of funnel hacks from your competitors for under $100. Secret number 2, funnel cloning: how to clone a proven funnel inside of ClickFunnels in less than 10 minutes. Secret number 3, my number 1 traffic hack: how to get the exact same customers who are currently going to your competitors to start coming to your funnel instead. Now that you have all these elements, you have the foundation you need to start creating your sales presentation in section 3. You will be plugging these 3 secrets into a slide that looks similar to this. Do you see the power behind what you've created here? You've identified the 1 big domino that will get people to believe in your message, as well as the 3 core false beliefs that are holding that domino up. In the presentation you will be creating in the next chapter, you'll use stories to systematically knock down each of the beliefs holding up the big domino. When all 3 of the core false beliefs have been knocked down, the big domino tumbles. When that happens, you have introduced the belief necessary for them to take action. It's all about breaking the false belief patterns holding your prospects back and rebuilding true beliefs. In section 3, I'll show you how to take these conceptual strategies and create the tactical pieces you need to make the sale. Section 3. Your moral obligation. Section 1 was all about creating your own mass movement. In Section 2, you learned more about how to build up your followers' beliefs so you can introduce them to new opportunities that will change their lives. In this section, we'll shift gears and talk about sales. One of my mentors, Jay Abraham, said that, if you believe in the product or service you're selling, then you have a moral obligation to try and serve your customers in every way possible. Often we make the mistake of thinking that because our content is so good, people will automatically follow us and pay for that information. Unfortunately, that just isn't true. One great example of this is Inner Circle member, Justin Williams. His company flips more than 100 houses per year, netting over $1 million. And the best part is he does it all in under 5 hours per week. So Justin decided to take his expertise, create a course, and sell it. His story and the proof he had was amazing. Yet even though he tried selling it for over a year, almost no one bought the course. He was shocked, because this had changed his life and he knew it would for other people, too. He couldn't figure out why no one would buy it. Then he and his wife, Tara, decided to join my Inner Circle to learn how to sell their program. By mastering the strategies in this section, they took this little coaching company they had almost shut down to over $1 million within just 8 months. The term sales sometimes has a negative connotation. But when you layer sales on top of the strategies I've already shown you, this process becomes simple. I'm going to show you how to take the new opportunity and stories you've created and weave them into a presentation that will convert your listeners into customers. The script you will learn over the next 6 secrets took me over 10 years to create and master. It's now been used by hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you to sell large groups of people products and services in the shortest amount of time possible. I still remember the first time I saw somebody sell a product on stage. They did a 90-minute presentation teaching about a concept, and then at the end they made the crowd a special offer. I watched in amazement as hundreds of people ran to the back of the room and gave this person thousands of dollars. It was so exciting, and, as I was counting how many people signed up and multiplying it by his program fee, I realized that he had made over $100,000 in just 90 minutes. I knew at that moment that I had to master that skill. So at my very first speaking engagement, I prepared a presentation that I knew was going to be amazing and would cause people to run to the back and sign up for my new program just like I had seen others do before me. I finally got on stage, nervously gave my presentation, and made a special offer at the end. But what happened next was shocking to me. Crickets. No body moved. No one bought anything. It was so humiliating. I spent the rest of the weekend in my hotel room hiding and eating Haagen-Dazs and coconut shrimp and watching movies, because I couldn't face the other speakers or attendees. It was a total bomb. I was so embarrassed, I swore I'd never speak or sell from the stage again. I was going to sit behind my computer and just sell things online. But I discovered that the skills I needed to sell online were the same skills I was lacking when I spoke from the stage. So I decided to humble myself and learn. I didn't want to learn from people who were good speakers, but rather from people who could actually sell from their respective platforms, such as stage, teleseminars, webinars. There's a huge difference between the two. What I discovered from the best people in the business was that teaching the best content actually hurt sales. But learning how to identify, break, and rebuild false belief patterns got people to take the action they needed in order to change. I learned how to tell stories. I learned how to structure offers and so much more. Then, for 3 years, I stood on stages all around the world, in front of thousands of people, and tested the presentations over and over and over again. I watched closely to see which topics, in what order, would make people run to the back of the room with their credit cards in hand. I also paid attention to what slowed my sales. Then one day I decided I was tired of traveling and leaving my family behind. So I quit speaking from the stage, despite the fact that I could bring in $250,000 or more from a single 90-minute presentation. Instead, I transferred those selling skills to the online environment. I tested my script on teleseminars and then webinars. I used it for video sales letters, Facebook Live presentations, and more. Each time I presented using this script, I'd watch the response and make tweaks. I did it over and over again, for years. A few years ago, I started teaching this script and process to my inner circle members. They implemented the script in all sorts of different markets. Dozens of them have now become millionaires, using this exact same script. It works. It's perfect. It's worth mastering if you really want to get your message to your market. Secret number 11. The stack slide. Before I ever start selling anything, my first step is to create an irresistible offer. This is the product I am selling at the end of my presentation. I do that with something I call the stack slide. This is where I stack up everything a customer gets when they decide to buy, including all the bonuses and extras. To start this process, I normally stand in front of a whiteboard and write down everything I could create for my dream customer to get them their desired result. I spend a few hours brainstorming everything I can think up, from providing a cool template to speed up their success to flying to their house and helping them in person. After my initial brain dump, I sit down and create the stack slide. I add in the coolest ideas from the whiteboard that I'd be willing to deliver for the price I have in mind. Every item on the stack slide has a value attached to it. The goal is to show that you're giving 10 times as much value as you're asking for in price. So if you're selling a $97 product, you want the stack slide to add up to at least $997, preferably more. If you're selling a product for $997, then the value needs to be at least $9,997. Some people get concerned about assigning a value to each of the offer components. Think of it not as the value you'd sell it for, but the value they get from it. What will the results from each element be worth to them? Over the years, I've developed 6 types of elements that work best in my offers. Element number 1, the Opportunity Switch Masterclass. The first thing to include on your stack slide is the actual system that teaches them the new opportunity. This is what you will teach your beta group during your free masterclass. After you teach it once for free, it will be fleshed out in more detail in the actual course you'll be selling, or it could just end up being the recordings from your beta masterclass. Element number 2, the tools. As someone participates in your masterclass, what are some tools you can give them to make the process easier for them and help them succeed? A tool can be something complex, such as software, one of the best tools, or something more simple, such as a template they need to fill in or checklists to follow. One of my inner circle members, Liz Benny, sells a masterclass for people who want to become social media managers. She gives away all her contracts, so her students don't have to hire expensive lawyers or come up with their own. While they certainly could draft their own, and she could teach them how to do that in the training, it's more valuable to just have them already done. Basically, she's selling a byproduct of her own business. She's already created the contracts for herself, so it's no extra work to offer them to others who are learning the same process. What byproducts have you created that you could offer your customers? Extra training is rarely a good stack item because most people assume that more training equals more work. People want tangible assets that make the core training easier to implement. Scripts, templates, cheat sheets, checklists, timelines, and schedules are all valuable tools you could create. Tools often have a much higher perceived value than the actual masterclass they paid for, so it's worth investing some time to make something awesome. Element number 3, tangible. Number 1, related to the vehicle. You'll get deeper into false belief patterns in the next secret, but ask yourself this question: what false beliefs do your customers have about the vehicle/new opportunity that you're presenting to them? What would keep them from believing that this vehicle is right for them? What tangible thing can you create to help them change their belief? I love creating case studies or examples to include as this bonus. If I were creating a product about flipping houses on eBay, I'd go and find 20 to 30 examples of me doing this process, or case studies of my students having success with it. I put them together into a case study booklet or video training that people could watch or read as proof that the vehicle works and to get a better insight about how others are doing it. The more belief in the new opportunity one can create, the more likely they will be able to achieve the same results. Element number 4, tangible. Number 2, related to their internal struggle. Once they believe the vehicle is right for them, what beliefs do they have about themselves that make them think they can't succeed? For example, someone in your beta group might say, "That's cool, but I don't know how to dot. Or, I can't dot." They might believe in the new vehicle, but they don't believe in themselves. So you need to create something specific to help them overcome these false beliefs about themselves. Maybe they think they're not technically inclined. What can you create to show them how to hire the right tech people? Maybe they believe they've never been able to stick to a diet. What tangible can you create that will help them overcome this internal struggle? Sometimes this element will be specific training that goes beyond what's in the masterclass. It could also be tangible tools or templates that will give them the confidence to realize they can actually do it. One of my best-selling offers, my funnel hacking offer, taught people how to build funnels. While it was easy to get people to believe that funnels were the future, they often didn't believe that they could actually build a successful sales funnel on their own. I discovered that one of their biggest fears was writing the copy for the funnel pages. So for this element, I gave people my copywriting course, as well as all my templates and swipe files, so they can easily complete that part of the process. Element number 5, tangible. Number 3, related to an external struggle. This is usually the last thing holding someone back from getting results. They believe that the vehicle is right, they believe they can do it, but there is still some outside force that might make it difficult for them to succeed. This outside force might be a bad economy, lack of time, or something else outside their direct control. For my funnel hacking offer, getting traffic was the big external struggle everyone had. They believed in the vehicle, they believed in themselves, but had fears that no one would ever click into their funnels. So we created a video course showing them how to drive traffic into their funnels. For your opportunity, think about what outside things might possibly keep people from success, then create something to help eliminate or minimize that excuse. Element number 6, exclusive bonus. Finally, we need to create something that will cause urgency and scarcity. In my ClickFunnels presentation, I offer an upgraded account for those who sign up before a certain deadline. In my high-ticket secrets course, I give the first 10 people a consult call with one of my sales guys. You can also give them personal access to you via an accountability group, a phone consultation, or a mastermind event. Here is an example of my stack slide that you can model. Once you have your stack slide assembled, you've got an irresistible offer, a vehicle for real change. In the next secret, you'll learn the script used to present and sell this offer. Keep reading. Secret number 12. The perfect webinar. I hesitated to call this secret the perfect webinar because I don't want you to think this script only works for webinars. It was initially created for webinars under that name. But since then, we've successfully used it for video sales letters, teleseminars, webinars, stage presentations, email sequences, and more. It should probably be titled The Perfect Presentation, but our community has adopted the name The Perfect Webinar, so we'll keep it the same. Just don't forget that this script can and should be used in all selling situations, not just webinars. In this secret, I'll break down the script process, then in the next 3 secrets we'll walk through it step by step. Everything covered so far will be plugged into specific sections of the script. Yes, there is a method to my madness. And while it may seem like we're doing a lot in this script, there is just one goal. Get them to believe one thing. That's it. If you ask someone to believe in more than one thing, your sales will suffer. Jason Fladlien once explained. The idea is to have a single point of belief that your message is built around and is emphasized over and over and over again from a variety of different angles. The big domino I mentioned earlier, that is the key thing they need to believe. The whole presentation is created to knock down that one domino, and that's it. The 3 secrets you're about to learn are not new things you're trying to get them to believe. They are the tools you use to attack the domino from a variety of different angles. That is the key to the perfect webinar. When you understand this, you're ready to build out your presentation. There are a lot of moving pieces in this script, and every single one of them is there for a specific reason. Make sure you don't leave anything out. Before we dive into each individual element, let's look at an overview of the whole process. There are 3 major parts. Part 1, the introduction/building rapport. This is where you'll welcome people to the presentation, build rapport, pique their curiosity, and get them excited. Also, this is where you start actually persuading people. That doesn't begin at the close, that begins the second you start talking. Part 2, the one thing. During this section, you'll try to pique their curiosity, you'll identify the big domino, the one thing, and tell your first epiphany bridge story, your origin story. Right off the bat, you're giving people the same epiphany you had when you discovered the new opportunity. This is your first attempt to knock down the big domino. Part 3, the 3 secrets, breaking and rebuilding belief patterns. This is the content section of the presentation. You need to identify the false beliefs they have around the following. 1. The vehicle or new opportunity. 2. Their ability to use the vehicle, internal beliefs. 3. The number one thing they believe is keeping them from getting started, external beliefs. You already identified these earlier, so all you have to do is tell epiphany bridge stories that break their false belief systems and rebuild them with the truth. Notice that the 3 secrets are not trying to get people to believe new things. They are simply false beliefs they already have about your one thing. If you knock down these 3 beliefs through the content section of the presentation, the big domino will fall and they will join your new opportunity. Part 4, the stack. Here is where you move from the teaching to the sales portion of the presentation. Don't worry if you're nervous about this. I'm going to give you a magic sentence that will make the transition seamless and natural. You'll then present your offer in a very precise format we call the stack, and you'll weave in some very specific closes that have been proven to persuade people to take the action they need in order to get results. And yes, you will be using your stack slide during this portion of the presentation. That is the bird's eye view of the perfect webinar structure. After you master it, you'll be able to give a presentation like this on the fly. But it's important to really understand the objectives for each section. So the next 3 chapters will break down each part of the perfect webinar slide by slide. Secret number 13: the one thing. It's time. Are you ready to put your perfect webinar presentation script together? You have all the foundational pieces you need at this point. So we're just going to go right through the script writing process from start to finish. You're going to write a whole presentation right now. Typically, I create this either in PowerPoint or Keynote, so I'm going to teach the next few sessions slide by slide with an image to show the concept behind each one. If you're doing a webinar, this graphic shows what you'd put on the slides. If you're using this script as an email sequence or some other selling system, use the slides as a reminder of what you need to cover at each phase. Let's talk about scripting for a minute. When it comes to presenting webinars, there are 2 kinds of people. Some like to just look at bullet points on the slide and improvise. And others like to have an entire script written out that they can just read word for word. Personally, I'm in the first group. However, the reason we call this the perfect webinar is because we've tightly engineered it to deliver the most conversions. I believe it's as perfect as you can get. So for right now, I strongly recommend that you script out everything you're going to say word for word. That way, you know you won't forget anything. Once you've delivered the webinar live a few dozen times, it will become second nature and you can improvise all you want. And even if you say, "No way, I don't want to read a script," at least go through the process of writing it down as you go through this section. I really want you to be successful right out of the gate. Let's go. The introduction and the one thing. In a traditional webinar, this first part of the presentation should take 5 to 10 minutes. If you are using this in other selling environments, you can do this part in a much shorter window. Its job is to build rapport and get people excited about what they are going to learn. 1. Title slide. The title slide is the first thing people will see when they log on to the webinar or watch the replay. It's got the webinar headline you wrote earlier, how to underscore 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 without underscore 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 underscore. The goal here is to encourage curiosity and get people to stick around. Hey everybody! Welcome to the webinar. This is underscore 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 underscore, and today I'm going to show you how to underscore 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 without underscore 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 underscore. This is an example of my title slide. 2. Intro/rapport. Earlier you learned about one-sentence persuasion by Blair Warren. Remember he said, people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. I like to cover this at the very beginning of my presentations as a way to build instant rapport with my audience. Here's how we do it. Justify their failures. Now I'm guessing for a lot of you this is probably not your first webinar. The first thing I want to mention is that if you failed at underscore 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 in the past, it's not your fault. There's a lot of information out there, and it can be confusing. Many times that information overload keeps you from success. It's okay. Allay their fears. If you've been concerned in the past that you just can't succeed with underscore 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 underscore, I want to put those fears to rest. You can do this. You just need the right person to explain it to you. Throw rocks at their enemies. The big corporations want you to think you need a lot of venture capital or some fancy college degree to be successful. I'm here to tell you they're wrong. They have their own reasons for wanting you to think that, but it's not true. Confirm suspicions. If you've ever thought that the government and the banks actually want you to fail, you're probably right. They don't benefit from you succeeding. They want to keep you in debt and in need. The difference with us is that we actually care about your success and truly want to see you living the life of your dreams. Encourage their dreams. So that's what we're here for. I know you have a dream to change the world and make an impact, and I want to show you how to make that happen during this webinar. 3. The ruler. Goal number 1, the new opportunity, make it inclusive. The next slide is what I call the ruler. It's the measuring stick people will use to judge your webinar. If you don't tell them what your goals are, even if you do everything perfectly, they may be upset because their goal was different than yours. So I like to tell people right away what my goals are, what I want them to get from the presentation. If they aren't looking for a similar goal, they have the opportunity to leave at that point. The goal is always to help them to see that this new opportunity will give them their greatest desires, increase their status, and help them achieve their goals. I also take this opportunity to be inclusive of any people who aren't sure whether they are in the right spot. I don't want people wondering during the whole presentation, is this for me? I want them to know up front that this is exactly what they need. My goal for this presentation is to help 2 types of people. For those who are beginners, you'll get what the presentation/new opportunity will do for them, or how it will fulfill their desires. For more experienced people, you'll get alternative. Sometimes my inclusion is for beginners versus advanced, but other times it's based on different parts of the market who may be watching. For example, if you own a retail store, you'll get _ from my presentation, but if you own an online store, you'll get _ from the presentation. 4. The ruler. Goal number 2, the big domino. This next slide is typically an extension of my goal, and it's where I first show them the big domino. Remember you created your big domino sentence earlier? It looked like this. If I can make them believe that new opportunity is key to what they desire most, but it is only attainable through specific vehicle, then all other objections and concerns become obsolete. So this slide restates that sentence in the form of goals. Remember, they need to believe that your specific vehicle is the only way to get what they desire most. Here is where you introduce yourself and let people know why they should listen to you. I'm not a big fan of bragging, but you need to make sure you have postured yourself in a way that they see you as an expert and an authority. This shows them you have already achieved what they desire. Don't get into the game of sharing every stat about yourself and reading a 10-page bio. This is annoying and does not build rapport. Briefly touch on the external result, but then dig a little deeper and talk about the internal result your achievement gave you as well. These are the 2 things you'll be discussing with your first Epiphany Bridge story. This is where you transition into your backstory for your first Epiphany Bridge story. Tell your origin story, the series of events that first convinced you this new opportunity was the vehicle for you. This will be your first attempt to knock down the big domino. Use the Epiphany Bridge script to tell the story in a way that gives them the same epiphany you had. If you succeed, they will be sold after this first story. And everything else you say from this point forward will strengthen their initial aha. If you have a quick case study of someone you've worked with having success with this, or an example that helps them see how it will work for them, you would include that here. Not only has this worked for me, but here is a story about Trey, who was on the same webinar recently, and look at the transformation he's had in just 6 short months. 9. Transition to the 3 secrets. For many people, the initial story will get them excited, but objections and false beliefs will also start to pop up as soon as you introduce the new opportunity. This is where you transition to the content section of the webinar, where you will start breaking and rebuilding their false belief patterns. Introduce what you're going to teach during the webinar. The 3 secrets, of course, are designed to counteract or negate the top 3 false beliefs you just mentioned. You already created the titles of these 3 secrets, so you can plug them in here and introduce them to everyone. Here's what we're going to cover during the next 45 minutes or so. Secret number 1, funnel hacking, how to ethically steal over $1 million worth of funnel hacks from your competitors for under $100. Secret number 2, funnel cloning, how to then clone their proven funnel, inside of ClickFunnels, in less than 10 minutes. Secret number 3, my number 1 traffic hack: how to get the exact same customers who are currently going to your competitors' funnels to start coming to your funnel instead. Okay, now you've got the first part of the presentation scripted. Next, let's dive into the actual content delivery. Secret number 14. Breaking and rebuilding belief patterns. Everything you have done to this point has been designed to encourage curiosity, build rapport, and introduce the new opportunity. Now we're transitioning to the content section of the presentation. You'll be tempted to switch into teacher mode at this point. And if you're not careful, it will destroy your sales. This is not a teaching presentation. This is a presentation to inspire people and cause them to actually take action to change their lives. The teaching is what you do after they have purchased. Teaching does not have a place in the webinar. It's the surest way to kill sales. Remember, you are focusing on identifying their false belief patterns, breaking them, and rebuilding them with the truth. I'm sure that for some of you this concept doesn't make sense or you got a little upset about it. When I first tried to sell something I had created that I knew would change people's lives, I did it in teacher mode. I taught my best stuff, knowing that as soon as they heard it, they'd want more. Right. Wrong. Instead, people told me my content was amazing, but then they just left with all the cool new stuff they had learned. They never actually implemented what I had created for them. While I was trying my best to help them, it actually hurt them because they didn't shift their beliefs, didn't buy anything, and never changed their lives. I was a failed expert and coach. I honestly believe that the greatest service you can provide for someone is getting them to buy something. The act of buying creates a commitment that causes them to actually take action. Dozens of my friends have come to my events as free guests, where someone sitting next to them had paid $25,000 to be in the same room. The strange thing is that so far none of those friends have ever actually launched successful businesses from the info they got at the event. None. Yet for those who paid to be in the room, our success rate is almost 100%. One of my early mentors, Bill Glazer, explained that I was actually keeping people from success because I was teaching them. I was so confused, and it took me a few years before I understood what he meant and how to change my method so it worked. Over the years, I slowly learned how to structure my content in such a way that it teaches and inspires, but also, and most importantly, causes people to take action. For some of you, this will feel strange at first because you aren't teaching them all the cool stuff you want to share. But you need to understand that the type of teaching you are doing here is the foundation for change. I remember being frustrated the first time I did a presentation this way, but when I was done, two very distinct things happened. Instead of making just a few sales like I normally did, I made hundreds of sales. And second, 10 times more people than usual told me that the content changed their lives. It's kind of funny. Even though I wasn't teaching them, I was breaking beliefs that had held them back for years and giving them new, empowering beliefs. This is actually teaching in its most pure form, it's just different than what you're used to. The time for teaching strategy and tactics will come. But they need to come in with the right belief systems first. 10. State the secret. Here you quickly state the first secret. Secret number 1. How to ethically steal over $1 million worth of funnel hacks from your competitors for under $100. Then you transition immediately into the next slide by saying, now let me tell you a quick story. 11. Share your epiphany bridge. Next, you will tell your second epiphany bridge story, which will kill the number 1 false belief they have about the new opportunity you are presenting. This story will help the audience better understand the new opportunity. Remember, the goal isn't to teach them, but to tell the stories around it to give them the epiphanies that will create desire and belief. They have to figure it out themselves. 12. Show other people's results. The audience will immediately think, that's great for Russell, but he's like a superhero. You've already positioned yourself as an expert, as someone successful. So you show some results that ordinary people have gotten from your vehicle. Go back to your initial beta group and start sharing some of those great results, testimonials, and stories that are tied to this first secret. The cool thing is it didn't just work for me, it works for all kinds of people. Look, here's Joe, and he always thought ___________ was true, but after he took that leap of faith and tried things this way, this is what happened. 13. Break the related beliefs. Of course, people are going to have lots of other false beliefs and objections about this secret, right? We made a list of all their false chains of belief in secret number 9, then you listed each one that was related to it in secret number 10. So it's time to revisit the rest of your list from earlier. It's time to break any other core beliefs they might have related to the vehicle. I learned a cool way to do this from Jason Fladleen. We were doing a webinar and he kept track of every objection he could think of during the whole thing. Then at the end, he spent about 90 minutes busting every objection on the list. He'd say, "You're probably thinking ________________________________________________________, right? Well, ______________________________________________________ . You're probably thinking you need a lot of money to drive traffic, right? Well, actually, you only need 100 clicks a day. You're probably thinking you need to know how to code, right? Well, actually, you can just clone other people's funnels right inside ClickFunnels. He went on and on like that for about 50 false beliefs that I hadn't even mentioned in the main webinar. I was starting to sweat because we'd been on for 3 hours and he was still talking. What were people going to think? But what actually happened was amazing. At the end of the webinar, we sold 3 times more during his 90 minutes of, "You're probably thinking X, right?" than we sold in the first 90 minutes of the webinar. We were live for 3 hours and had a record-breaking day. He just kept breaking false beliefs until there were no more objections that anyone could possibly think of. There was absolutely no resistance left. And it didn't just work that one time. Our inner circle clients Brandon and Kaylin Poulin were already killing it on their webinars, selling around $200,000 a month. Then they heard me mention this strategy and tried it out. At the end of their webinar, they went on for 30 minutes just busting through false beliefs, and ended up doubling their sales. So go back to your lists of false beliefs you created in secret number 9, find the ones associated with this secret, and quickly break those beliefs that may be holding your followers back. These stories are usually told in 30 to 60 seconds. Just mention the false belief and give a quick story or 1 or 2 sentences about why that belief is wrong and what the truth is. 14. Restate the new belief as an undeniable truth. Finally, you're just going to restate the secret as an undeniable truth. The old belief pattern has been shattered, and you've installed a new one. And that's the most powerful thing you can do as an educator and an expert. So now I've shown you how you can ethically steal over $1 million worth of funnel hacks for under $100. Isn't that awesome? 15.24. Rinse and repeat for secrets number 2 and number 3. Once you've gone through these steps for the first secret, go back and repeat steps 10 through 14 for the other 2 secrets. That's going to be the majority of your webinar content. When you change your presentation to this style, you are giving them more than just strategies and tactics. You're giving them a paradigm shift. You're changing their world from I can to I can and I will. That's the biggest gift you can give people, hope and belief in themselves. When you go through this process, you'll spend 45 to 60 minutes breaking those underlying issues and, all of a sudden, the huge domino falls down. They have a new belief in the one thing, and the whole world is open to them. After the webinar, you'll hear people saying, "I learned so much in that webinar. I had this emotional change." Again, you as the educator might feel like you didn't teach that much. But you did more than teach. You completely transformed the way they view the world, which is what you need to do if you're expecting them to adopt your new opportunity. As I start to move from the content section to the stack and closes, I use a few techniques to cement the new concepts into their minds and make a simple, non-stressful transition to the selling section of the presentation. The first thing is to show them how they could actually get the results they desire most, if they actually follow what I showed them. So I'll go back through my 3 secrets and say something like, "So let me ask you a question. If you followed what I showed you in secret number 1 and found a funnel that is already working, then you did what I showed you in secret number 2 and used ClickFunnels to build out a similar funnel in just 10 minutes, and then you used secret number 3 to get traffic from the same place your competitors are getting it from, do you think you could be successful? When you break it down like that so they can connect the dots, they have to say yes. If they've said yes to that question, that means all the internal beliefs have been knocked down, and the big domino has fallen. When I'm speaking on stage and can actually see the audience, those who are nodding their heads to that question are the ones who end up running to the back of the room to buy. If anyone isn't nodding, something in my presentation didn't convince them the big domino was true. When you sell in person, you have the ability to ask follow-up questions and figure out their specific false beliefs. Then you can address those concerns and close them. You don't have that luxury in group sales like webinars. So you have to include as many objections and false beliefs in the presentation as possible. That first transition question will help you gauge whether they are sold. And it will help them convince themselves that they are sold, as well. 26. The question. Now it's time to start the actual sales section of the webinar. You've taught the 3 secrets. You've broken false beliefs. It's time to reveal what you have to offer. The hardest part of selling on a webinar for most people is transitioning into the close. They get nervous and shaky, the hesitation and lack of confidence shows in their voice and body language. I used to get nervous too, until I learned a magic question from one of my mentors, Armand Morin. He taught me that the best way to make that transition is to simply say, "Let me ask you a question." That's the secret. It takes off all pressure and lets you make a seamless transition. I then ask them a few things. How many of you are excited about what we just talked about? How many of you are feeling a little overwhelmed because we've covered so much? Then I try to get them to laugh by showing them a picture of someone with a fire hose in their mouth. That usually gets a laugh, and it allows me to explain how it's impossible to show them everything they need to get results in a 60-minute presentation, but that I tried to cover as much as possible. I tell them that I created a special package for those who are ready to move forward and want to implement this new opportunity. Then I ask permission to share it with them. Is it okay with you if I spend 10 minutes going over a very special offer I created to help you implement underscore 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 underscore? Then I wait until they say yes or I see heads nodding. I want them to say yes first. Once you get permission, all the awkward feelings about selling disappear. In the rare times when no one speaks or there is an awkward silence, I say something like, "All right, it's totally fine if you guys don't want to know this stuff. I already know it. This isn't about me, this is for you. Are you okay if I spend 10 minutes and show you how it can change your life?" If you followed the script up to this point, they're going to say yes and you can introduce your offer. This transition helps you recap everything you've said in the webinar up to that point, and once again sets those new belief patterns in place. Once you transition into your sales pitch, you're going to use one of my favorite techniques, the stack. Secret number 15, the stack. I consider this my secret weapon. I learned it after watching Armand Morin speak on stage in front of over 1,000 people. He closed nearly half the room with almost no effort. I pulled him aside to find out what he was doing, and he explained the stack. I started using it immediately and went from closing an average 5 to 10% of a room at a live event to consistently closing 40% or more. Then I started using it on my sales webinars and saw a dramatic increase in sales each time. It's worked so well and so consistently that I will never give a sales presentation again without it. The big idea is that the only thing prospects remember when you sell is the last thing you showed them. He explained that most sales presentations focus on the core offer, then a list of bonuses and a call to action. So all people remember is the last bonus mentioned. If they don't think the last thing you offered is worth the price, they simply won't buy. Remember the stack slide you made back in secret number 9? It's time to use it. As you go through the offer with your audience, you'll explain the first element of your offer, then show it on the stack slide, all by itself. Then reveal the second element of your offer, and come back to the stack slide that shows the first element along with the second one. You do this for each element in the offer, you talk about it, then add it to the stack slide. So the audience sees the value adding up. The last thing you show them before you reveal the price is the full stack slide with the entire offer. When you present this way, the audience associates the price with the full offer, and not just the last thing you mentioned. I'm going to walk you through all the slides I normally use with my stack, so you can see how this works. I always lead in with the transition question from the last chapter, then I start revealing what they're going to get. Here I usually show a digital image representing the course content. I explain that when they invest right away, they will get instant access to my masterclass. A big mistake people make is going deep into each module explaining what will be covered each week. Don't do that. It overwhelms and confuses your audience. Just give them a high-level look at each module. Go through this really quickly. It should only take about 30 seconds. Here's what we're going to cover. Week 1, we're going to talk about underscore. Week 2, we'll go over underscore. Week 3, we dive into underscore. Then by week 4, you'll be ready for underscore. Week 5 we look at underscore. And finally, in week 6, we wrap it all up with underscore. Now let me show you some people who've had a chance to go through this. Here you will highlight the success stories from the beta group you ran earlier. Over time, you'll add in other success stories as they happen. Let me introduce you to Tell case study number 1. Then there's Tell case study number 2. And probably my favorite story is Tell case study number 3. 30, who this works for, all-inclusive. After you present the case studies, people often think, that's great, but it won't work for me. They think, that person lives in Australia. Or that person is in a different industry. They think their business or personal circumstances are different from the case study details, so it won't work for them. This is where you make a blanket statement about all the different people it works for. Be as inclusive as possible here. So I want to go back and make sure you realize who this is for. Business example, it's for people just starting out or those who are already successful and want to scale. Weight loss example, it's for people who have 100 pounds to lose or those who only have 5 more to go. It even helps people who don't need to lose weight, but want to build healthy muscle. 31. Destroy the number 1 reason people don't get started. Usually there's a common reason people don't get started right away. It's the elephant in the room. Address it head-on so they don't keep thinking about it through the rest of your presentation. The biggest excuse I hear with ClickFunnels is that they don't have a product to sell yet. So I tell them they don't need to have a product. They can use affiliate products. And we actually teach them how to make a product, if that's what they want to do. Destroy your audience's number 1 objection about the training right here. You might be thinking you can't get started with this because. Here's why that's a mistake that will hold you back from success. Reveal the first stack slide with the 6-week masterclass on it. Be sure to include the value of the item on the slide. When you sign up, you're going to get instant access to my 6-week masterclass, a total value of $. It's time to introduce the tools you created on your stack slide in secret number 11. I tell them that when they invest today, they will also receive this extra cool thing. Quickly review the tools they're going to get. Don't go too deep or you'll overwhelm people. As part of this package, you're going to get. It's a tool to help you. 34, you'll be able to get rid of. I want them to realize that investing in this thing shouldn't cost them any money, it should only save them money. So remind them what they are now able to do, but also what they will be able to get rid of. Hopefully the money they save will be more than what they are actually paying. That way, it's a truly irresistible offer. When you have this tool, you'll be able to When you have this tool, you'll be able to get rid of When I was first figuring this stuff out, I ran into a big roadblock. I didn't know how to So I had to create for myself. Talk about all the time and money you had to spend to overcome that big roadblock.